Welcome everybody on today's sit down episode. Now next to me on the couch, I have the honor and privilege to interview a very, very special young lady. She's a singer, she's an actress, she's a mom, she's a loving wife, and just a phenomenal human being. Next to me, Elizma Theron. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Bobby. It's such an honor to be here today.
My friend, thank you for joining us. I want to kick off the interview with my favorite question. If we could, boom, bring the 17-year-old version, which is like a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago.
Not too long ago.
Still beautiful and tall, walks in, sits next to you on the couch. Who are you at 17? Do you have it figured out? What's your priority list? What's important to you? What are you looking forward to? Tell us about your mind.
Well, first of all, no 17-year-old has it figured out.
Really? So it wasn't only me?
No, I think if she was sitting here today, she had a lot of stars in her eyes. I've always been a dreamer. I'm still a dreamer, but she was a big dreamer. Actually, I have to backtrack just a bit. At 17, I got back. I lived in Italy and Greece and also Cape Town for a while, for 3 years.
Wow.
I did some work, that was long ago, modeling in Italy, Greece and Cape Town. And when I was 17, probably middle of that year, I went back. I told my parents I don't want to do it again. They said, no problem, come back. I just wanted to be a normal teenager again. I wanted to go back to school and see my friends have a matric farewell.
Beautiful.
And so I went back, but you can't be gone for 3 years and not come back unchanged.
Different. I agree. Can I backtrack a little bit?
Yeah.
So, you are a beautiful young girl from South Africa. You grew up in Kuruman.
Yes.
So, I've never been to Kuruman, but I can imagine it's not a very big town.
No, it grew a bit since those days, but it's still a small town. But those days it was really, really an intimate small town. Yeah.
So a young lady at that tender age goes to Italy and Greece. Italy especially, very dynamic, especially in the modeling. It's fast. It's like overwhelming almost. What is the maybe 2 or 3 things that you learned that you brought back with you from Italy and from Greece? Sorry about the side question, but it's fascinating.
No.
What changed?
Well, I'll have to backtrack again.
Even more, no
Yeah,
problem.
even more. I was always an extrovert.
Okay.
I was always an extrovert as a little girl.
Okay.
And when I say little, up until I was about 7 years old.
Okay.
And then something profound happened in my life. I was physically abused by a teacher. And that changed my whole personality.
Wow.
And
I'm sorry, my friend. I didn't know that. I'm so sorry.
So hard to talk about that, but
you're a hero. Even being able to speak about it. Thank you.
No problem. So that changed my whole personality, and I became a total introvert. And I didn't open my mouth in school. I didn't. Anyone in authority, places of authority like teachers, like anyone, I was too afraid to open my mouth. And I always had a strong sense of self, and that's because of my parents. But to fast forward again, when I was 14, when they allowed me to go overseas, I knew that when I was there was so much going on. Like you said, it's so fast-paced, and there's a lot of people in authority that if you don't open your mouth, that will make you do stuff that you don't want to do.
Gotcha.
And so
it's a very
I'm so
dark
grateful.
world.
I'm so grateful for that period in my life because that gave me my voice back.
Gave you the confidence.
It gave me the confidence to stand up for myself again, open my mouth and say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm 14 years old. I'm not going to pose nude. No, I'm 14 years old. I'm not going to wear see-through clothing, because I knew I could see a future as well. I could see a future where I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be a wife. I wanted to be a mother. And I didn't want photos like that to come back and haunt me.
Got you.
And
well done to your parents, because that just shows the value of building values and principles that made you make the right decisions in their absence. That's great leadership. Never met your parents?
Yeah.
I know in my heart.
Yeah.
Just the last 10 seconds of conversation, they're phenomenal leaders.
No, they are. And I took their voices with me everywhere I went.
Beautiful.
Because I heard their voices in my head when somebody tried to hand me something to drink. I heard my mother's voice, don't do it.
Don't do it.
What drugs? There were a lot of drugs there. I was 14 years old, and I would hear my mother's voice. It only takes once to try it, and you're hooked. So I've never even tried drugs in my whole life, and I was surrounded by it for almost 3 years. Constantly. But I separated myself as far as I could from it. I didn't sit around a table while they were doing drugs. I separated myself from that. I'm grateful for my parents, and I clung to my religion and my beliefs as well.
Beautiful.
Obviously.
So I mean, you come back. So there's a couple of things that you learn in life. There's a lot of things that you can learn from books, and you can be book smart.
Yeah.
But you came back street smart.
Yes.
Am I right to say so?
Experience is the best teacher.
Yeah.
And to get back to your previous question, so when I came back at 17, you can't come back unchanged. And I went back to school. It was nice seeing friends again, having a matric farewell, all that. But I saw that the world was big, and you don't have to dream small in a big world.
Yes.
Kuruman is small, but that's just a town in a country.
On a continent.
On a continent.
On a beautiful
it is
planet.
So big, so you don't have to dream small in a big world. And that's when I just decided that I'm going to dream, and I'm going to go for those dreams. So a lot of stars in her eyes, but I'm proud of her.
Beautiful. Awesome. So, wow. I just processed 14-year-old girl. You've had a traumatic experience at 7. Your parents just believing in you so much to allow you to go and see the world on your own in a very technical environment, believing in you, knowing that their values and principles are embedded in you, and trusting you to make the right decision.
Yeah, I'm also very grateful for them, because
Amazing.
Being a mother now, I can't see myself letting my 14-year-old daughter go. Well, maybe it's me now because I know what's out there. Maybe that's why I won't.
I think mom and dad also knew, but I think they trusted you.
They trusted.
Yeah, and maybe because your children are a lot younger, by the time they get to that age, you would have also
trusted them, or trust them to do the same.
Absolutely.
You never know.
So you come back, and you've got lots of stories to tell. You have your matric dance. How does a career in singing navigate from there? How does that happen? Are you amongst friends and then you belt out a nice licky, or are you like, listen, by the way, I've been practicing at home when no one's watching.
In the shower.
Yeah, in the shower, because I'm a phenomenal singer in the shower. My wife screams like, shut up, from the side. I'm like, wait, I'm having fun.
I'm sure that's not true.
Well, it is. So how does that transition? It always fascinates me, because you come back very confident, and you're a confident person. It's like, boom, walking to the door. We've never met. I'm like, wow, this is a force of nature. You sit down and you already engage everybody in the room. Everyone loves you in the room. How How does that happen? Does someone see you and say, we're going to record you? How does that journey take place?
No, it was quite a road. My love for singing began at a very, very early age. I was 2 years old. My grandmother was living with us. She loved singing, and she's still with us.
Nice.
Has a beautiful voice, and I would get into bed with her and we'd sing the morning away. And I think she planted that seed of love for music in me. And then since then, the first time I think my parents just thought, just like any other kid, love singing, dancing, fooling around. And then at the age of 12, I got on stage for the first time. But my parents didn't know. In the music class, there was a district singing competition in our district, not just
That's still primary school, 12. Still in primary school, standard 5.
Yes, it was standard 4.
Standard 4, okay.
And I was in this music class, and the teacher was talking about this singing competition that they're holding for our district, and she wanted to test everyone's voices by just sing your favorite song. And I sang a song, and she said, "Are you going to enter?" And I was like, I'm not sure, I'm not sure. And she said, "No, you should enter." And the preliminary round was about a week away, and it was during school.
Okay.
So I did that, and I went through to the semis. But my parents didn't know that I entered. And so when I went through to the semis would be at night somewhere.
So you can't drive yourself there. So mom, listen, by the way.
By the way, I have to be there at that time. So she took me, and that's, I think, where my parents first saw, okay, wow. Maybe there's something. And at the semis, I went through to the finals, and long story short, I was the overall winner at the finals. And so
congratulations.
Obviously, thank you. Parents very, very
freaking
proud,
out.
Very proud. So they threw me in the deep end a bit, because then my parents sent the video of my performance to KTV. I don't know if you remember KTV.
I remember KTV.
Power Edition.
We're the same age.
Yeah,
we are exactly the same age. Yeah.
There wasn't Netflix and all the different stations and things
avenues
you could choose.
Like now,
choose from. So Power Edition, and Candice Hillebrand did the interview with me. So I went from first time on stage to TV, KTV Power Edition. No stress.
In like a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
And after that, my parents just encouraged me to perform as much as possible, doing different competitions. And as the Kuruman and neighboring towns heard me sing, they would ask me to come sing at the annual show, like the Kuruman show and stuff like that. And that's where I think I built up confidence, and that's where I discovered my instrument, and discovered what type of music I really wanted to sing. And it evolved from there. And after school, after the whole going to Italy, I always had 4 dreams. I wanted to sing, I wanted to dance, I wanted to do modeling, and I wanted to do acting. So
you did everything, my friend. Tick, 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 tick.
Those were the 4 dreams. So when the modeling thing sort of not interfered, but interjected with the singing, and I had that opportunity, I couldn't let that opportunity go. So yes. I put the singing on the side for a bit and did the modeling. And when I came back at 17, I picked that up again. And that's when, after school, I gave class in dancing, singing, tap for kids, because in those days there in Kuruman, the culture was very sports orientated.
Yes.
So there wasn't, for kids that were culturally inclined, more like singing, dancing. There wasn't
rugby,
anyone.
Netball.
Yeah, that's it.
Swim.
Yeah, that's it.
And you were like, listen, there's other stuff. Come
and
join.
other children
Yes.
that enjoy those kind of stuff. So I had about 120 students.
Wow.
And they did those modeling, singing, dancing, all that at the school.
Amazing.
And I love them so much. They're not kids anymore. They're getting married, and I can't believe it now. But
they grow up so quickly.
They grow up so quickly. But yeah, so that was also a awesome time. But I always knew this, you know, the seed is growing, and I need to water it now.
Yes.
So I was 20 years old at the Kuruman show. There was someone there, a lady there called, her name's Teresa, and she came to me after my show and she said, listen, I come from Brits, and I know a lot of people in Pretoria in the music industry. Would you like to meet them? I could introduce you. And for some reason, I didn't know the industry, but for some reason, I just knew that this industry is so small that I can't take the chance of doing this and doing it and not doing it full on.
Yes,
like this
yes.
is, you can't do it half-heartedly. Yeah. And I just knew it wasn't the time. And then, I said...
So that's the first opportunity that you got. Wow. And you said no.
But I said no because I knew that if you stuff this up once, they're not going to let you back in. If you get
no second chances.
No second chances. So I said, give me a year. And the next year, she was there again at the show. And she said, do you want to meet them? And I said, give me a month. Because I knew it was Kakanka. And so I drove down to Kakanka, and I went to see all the shows. Like Nicholas Lowe was very big at that stage. Juanita du Plessis-Darren, all those, they were like, they were
just exploded. Yes.
Yeah. So I went to all their shows, and Karen Zoid and everyone, to see, am I really ready? Do I want to be on that stage right now? And I got my answer, and I got back in my car. I drove back to Kuruman, and I called her and I said, okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
Wow.
And she introduced me to everyone. She introduced me to Dennis East. We wanted him to record my first album, and he told us that he was busy. He wouldn't be able to. But he took a meeting with us, and that's when he told us he won't be able to record it. But he said, just sing something to me. And I sang a song, and then afterwards he said, listen, I'm going to make space for you. We're going to do this. And about 3 weeks later, we started recording. But we needed songs, and I've never written songs before. And we didn't have any songs. And I've always known that good songs were not going to be given to me, a girl from Kuruman, someone that, which is only fair, because if you're a good songwriter and you have a hit, you wrote a hit, you're not going to give it to Elizma from Kuruman. Who is Elizma from Kuruman?
Yes.
You're going to give it to Nicholas or Juanita.
Yes.
Because your song is going to get more airtime.
Yes.
So that's the first time I picked up a pen, and I wrote my first song called Lapa Side. That was also the first song I recorded with Dennis.
Amazing.
That was my first song. That was my first music video, and that was the first song that played on MK89.
Wow, my friend,
and that's
absolutely
where people heard me for the first time.
Unbelievable. Having a lot of people need to hear this message. Having the self-awareness to know when you're ready and know when you're not ready, because you knew that I'm only going to get one opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't feel ready for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I need to still process 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I need to examine the stage, because a lot of people go into, I'm going to be a marketer. Then they start a marketing course and they realize, holy moly, this is hard work. No, I'm going to be a salesperson.
Yeah.
And having the ability to say, let me first look, does this speak to me? Can I live my life? Can I build a lifestyle?
Yeah.
And then going for it when you were ready. Well done.
Thank you. But there's a fine line, because it sounds like it was an easy choice for me. It wasn't, because you don't want to be given an opportunity and not take it.
Absolutely.
But I knew this was a great opportunity, but I knew that if I take it and don't do it justice at that stage, then it's going to be unforgiving later.
Such a difficult.
So it wasn't an easy.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy choice, but yeah, ultimately it worked out. Yes.
If you could go back, because now you've performed for hundreds of thousands, millions of people. You've written hit songs, lots of music videos, amazing fans. If you could go back and say, okay, if I were to start today, this is the one thing that I would love to take with me because it would have served me. And perhaps, the reason why I ask the questions is there's a young lady or a young man out there that wants to go in a career, because your advice I know will be evergreen. How can we compress their career from achieving a goal from 10 years to maybe 8 years, or from 5 years to maybe 3 years? What's the one thing that you wish you knew back then that you know today? You were a very smart girl back then already, but if you could bring back one thing.
I think that the one thing is to not compare.
Not compare.
Don't compare yourself to anyone. Don't compare your journey to anyone's journey.
Wow.
And I think that is the most important thing to remember, is that you were given this talent, whatever that talent may be. You were given this talent and it's unique. It's yours. No one else has your talent, just like you don't have that person's talent or that person's talent.
Yes.
And see it for what it is. Be grateful for your talent and enjoy the journey that you have to walk to get there. If it's a 10-year journey, if it's a 5-year journey, if it's a 2-year journey, it's your journey.
Yeah.
And not to ever compare. I think that was the biggest thing, because even as wise as I was, that was, I think, the thing. I would look at that person and know their history and how they got there. And not that I wanted to do it exactly the same as them, but I would go like, I can't hit that note, or I can't do that, or I can't do that, and it literally drives you crazy later on. You just have to accept yourself and see the beauty that you can bring to the industry.
Absolutely. And everybody's unique.
Everyone's unique, and you bring your own story, you bring your own journey, your own uniqueness,
and your own value
to it, and your own value to
Absolutely.
The industry.
For example, why I say that's beautiful evergreen advice. You can have, like, I'm a type A personality. I'm very practical. I'm not analytical at all. I know that. So I'll focus on my strengths. I know that when I'm jumping out of a entrepreneur mindset into a managerial, I need to manage systems. It's not my natural environment. I don't try and be that person. I get there and I know who I am. This is your strength. Carry on with what you know.
And that's what you need to focus on. Focus on your strengths, and not everyone has strengths and weaknesses. But don't focus on your weaknesses. Focus on your strengths and push that forward.
Yeah.
Don't try to openly hide your weaknesses, because everyone has them.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, if you try and be Mariah Carey, what is she going to do? She's already, that position is taken.
Exactly.
You need to be you. I won't say failure, but maybe biggest stumbling block in your career where you felt, oh man, this is the big one. I wish this didn't happen in your career. Your careers, I mean, there's like literally no bad rep. There's nothing. You've got a clean history. But if you could say, this is my biggest failure in my career that I wish didn't happen, and the lesson that you perhaps learned from it, if you don't mind.
You know what, Bobby? That's a very loaded question.
I know. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
because as you were asking the question, I'm thinking, I'm one of those people that I don't necessarily focus on the failures. So it's hard for me to remember something as a failure, because I know there were some things that didn't obviously work out the way I wanted it to, but I never saw it as a failure. I saw it as a push in another direction so that I can get on a different road or the right path again, you know. So it's a difficult. I can't think of anything that I see as a failure.
And that's the presence that you brought into the room when you walked in. You're so positive. Everything happens for you, not to you. So whatever happened, okay, cool, we learn, we carry on. Next, what's next?
Yeah, and that's not to say that there wasn't failures and there wasn't...
Nobody's as successful as you are if you didn't fail sometimes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Now, pushed around in different directions. I want to ask you a different question. If you consider a person growing up as an event that happened, and it takes, the old saying, it takes a village to raise a young man or a young woman. It takes a big village. It took the village of Greece and Italy to raise you into the wonderful human being that you've become. If you could mention 3 people that course corrected you, that you know, I was headed here, boom, 2 degrees. Now we're shifting over to that side. Who are those 3 people, and what impact did they have on your life? I know there's 3,000 that's running through. Just the 3 that's top of mind.
Yes. Obviously, it's going to be hard to just name 3, because I think because I think every stage in my life has the constants, you know, yes. the people that's always been there, and then
mom and dad.
Yes, mom and dad, obviously, and my grandmother. They've always been there. They've always supported me. They've always criticized. Yeah, they've always criticized.
Beautiful.
But I know that it's not bad criticism. It comes out of love and out of showing me, you know what, maybe not this, but this, you know. Yes. I know that it comes from a good place.
People tend to, sorry to interrupt you, people tend to think that criticism is a bad thing. Criticism is a wonderful, feedback is necessary.
Criticism is a wonderful thing
if it's constructive.
If it comes from the right people, with the right intention.
100%.
You know, then I can take it. But if it
not
comes
cancel
from
culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a keyboard ninja.
No. Yeah, no, that is just ridiculous in the first place.
Yeah, those you sort of glaze. Okay, is this person's intention to show me a weakness that I'm not seeing, or something that I can improve, or does he want to make me feel bad?
Can I grow from this, or are you trying to break me? Are you saying it to help me grow or to break me? And that's the question you should ask when someone gives you criticism. Rewind
15-20 seconds and watch it again, please, because that's especially in today's world. Me and you grew up in a different, you know, no WhatsApp, Facebook, Insta, and today it's just so, it gets really nasty.
It does, because nobody's held liable for their words, freedom of speech. But I just, a lot of times when you go into the profile of that person, it says a lot more about that person than you.
Absolutely.
So, and that's also something to remember.
Belief, yes. Yeah. So 3 people.
Okay, definitely.
I'm not going to let you off the spot. You are on the couch, my friend.
Okay, my parents and my grandmother aside. Okay, Teresa, definitely.
The
lady that found me in Kuruman.
Okay.
I mean, she introduced me. She helped me so much. She prayed with me.
Wow.
She's an amazing person, obviously. And then later in life, my husband, definitely. Like I say, every level that you go through has new people that climb onto that bus, you know. And my husband, he has his own job that he works really hard on every day, but every weekend he's on the road with me and goes to shows with me.
Amazing.
He sits with the sound engineer. He knows what tops and bottoms and
Oh, wow.
reverb and all that is. And he didn't know that beforehand. So he really is a rock for me.
I can feel the safety net.
Yeah, he's definitely a rock.
He brings the stability in the family.
Absolutely. And then my kids.
Wow.
My kids as well. They are only 8 and 6 at the moment, but they are my biggest supporters. And if I write a song, because Elizma, my daughter, she loves singing, she loves music, she never stops.
Nice.
And so when I write something
new, like who she is, yeah.
But she's really talented. She also writes and stuff, and she has a good ear for it. So I always run new stuff by her, and I'm like, do you think this is now? Because I'm getting older now. I need to
check with the kids. Does this sound good? Does it sound good? No, we're still young, my friend. We've got an ear still.
And and she'll say, yeah, I like that. No, the verse, I don't like the verse, but the chorus is good. Amazing. So then I know, okay, I'm I don't want people to think, I'm on the right track. I'm taking advice from a 6-year-old or 8-year-old. But those are definitely, I think, the main characters.
Awesome.
In my story, yeah.
Awesome. Landmines. You've got a lot of life experience. The time in Italy and Greece has taught you a lot about the big bad world that's out there. Mm-hmm. That it's not only a small town or a country or continent. It's a beautiful planet. If you could maybe share a couple of landmines that you give us the GPS coordinates, myself and the rest of the team in the studio, as well as the thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that will watch this interview, then we know. We heard this from Elizma. Don't step there. There's an aina there. Something that you could pinpoint and say, watch out for this. This is my landmines that I've experienced in my life or career, either or.
Yeah. That's also, it's, I think everyone has their own demons and their own landmines that are strewn, all over. And for some people, for me, this could be a landmine. For someone else, that is not a landmine. Yeah. But I think just to listen to there's something in you. I always teach my kids, there's an angel on your right side and the devil on your left side. And a lot of times when they do something, I tell them, who did you listen to now? Who did you listen to now? And I think that's when there's a landmine. A landmine is something that sometimes you step on it unknowingly. Yes. But I think a lot of landmines, we step on, you're just like, will it go off? You're just dipping your toe on it, and a lot of times it goes off. Yeah.
So most of the time, sometimes I agree, but most of the times I do agree with you. You're taking the risk a little bit too far.
Too far, yeah. And like I said, for every person, it's a different scenario. For some, it is with addictive personalities, and you say yes to, just try it, and like my mom said, it takes once, Yes. So there's a lot of people in the world that want to see you fail, and it's your responsibility to not let them watch that movie.
Ooh, that's beautiful. I love it. I love it.
It's only your responsibility to not let them watch that movie.
And I suppose as you're climbing through the ranks and you're becoming more popular, you're selling more CDs, you're going to more shows, that crowd, attracts a lot more friends. And then you've got a bigger responsibility, because that movie will be watched by thousands.
Exactly.
To make sure that movie never gets made.
That is, every level has a new devil. Yes, every level has a new devil.
So I want to share a personal story. A couple of weeks ago, I'm speaking to somebody that I'm mentor with, that's very far ahead of where we are in business, and he's got a similar story. There's 2 people on each shoulder, and I ask him, like, how? He's just a cool guy. He's very cool. He's I know, I've met him in real life. I know that he's got so much pressure. Company is 30,000 people. And, lots of departments, lots of moving parts. And I asked him, sir, how do you walk out of a cutthroat meeting with a board and shareholders and walk into a marketing meeting and it looks like you're floating on air and you're just a cool, calm, collected guy. And I know you've got a temper. He's got a terrible temper. How do you control it? Here's what he says. He says to me, he's American, so he says, Barbie, I've got a man here that says to me, you're ready for the next level. You are, you can do it. And I've got one here that says, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So you have to prove one of them right.
Exactly.
And if you lose your temper and if you allow that movie to be made, you're proving this one right.
Exactly.
So loved your insight. I really did. Okay. Best advice that you've ever received, whether it's personal or career. Give me one personal, one career advice.
I think this one is for both.
Okay.
If you do what you can, this has always been my motto. If you do what you can, the Lord can do what you can't. So if you do what you can, the Lord will do what you can't. And that was profound for me when I heard that, because I am very controlling with certain stuff in my life and in my career.
Which month are you born in?
Take June.
June, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And you?
September.
September.
Yeah, September. I'm a Virgo, so man, like this, the fact that the writing's not straight, it freaks me out. But I've had to live with it. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm very controlling when it comes to certain stuff in my life, and sometimes I think it's only me that can do it right, So so if someone is making eggs, or I ask them to make eggs, and it's for a breakfast that I am serving people, then I would check them the whole time and then take over eventually, But that's just. I'm just that hasn't happened. That hasn't happened. But
I'm like me, my friend. I'm the same.
But but one thing I've learned is that in my career, in my life, that sometimes you don't have control. Sometimes you can't control a situation, and when that happens, you can't fall apart because you're out of control, because you don't have control. And that's where I since I've got this advice and realized, this is, like I said, really profound, because I realized that when I work, he rests, and he can't work if I don't rest. So when I rest, he can work.
Got you.
But I can't take it out of his hands the whole time and try to control everything. So all I can do is work hard, give my best, take the opportunities that he gives me, and take it to where he has to take over now and say, yes, you walk through this door, but you know what? That this is not for you. Or yes, you walk through the door and let's take it further. And sometimes there's a lot of disappointment still with it, but there's just some relief and some ease that comes with that realization that you don't have to control everything, and it's okay not to control everything, and that the best person, entity, the best, is in control. The one that has your best interest at heart is in control.
And also sometimes you're right. Sometimes things don't work out the way you want, and it's a temporary sit back, knock back. But thinking about it 10 years later, it's like it worked out exactly. And you have to have faith in
that. That has happened in my life a lot of times, sure. Looking back on something, I said, oh, that's why that had to happen. I was in tears about that, but if that didn't happen, then this wouldn't have happened. 100%. And then the puzzle pieces just start to show you the big picture.
Beautiful. What's the best advice that you can give to young, aspiring singers, models, dancers, actresses, actors? What's the best advice that you can give them?
The best advice would be to first know if this is really a passion, especially when it comes to the industry, whether it's the entertainment industry. When it comes to the entertainment industry, I think a lot of people, because you see a lot of, I'm going to talk about the music industry specifically now because I'm in it, but you see a lot of artists come and go, and you never hear from them again.
Attracted to the limelight.
Yes, that's the thing. They're not interested in the music, they're more interested in the lights. Yes. And that is a big landmine.
Absolutely.
That is a big landmine. And so, and like I said previously, you get one shot. So if you don't really take it, people will remember that you tried before. And then it's a lot more difficult to get in. But yeah, the thing that I would say is before you enter this industry, make sure you know not only who you are as a musician, but as a person, because as a person you're going to need tools to navigate the industry. You're going to have mental and emotional strength to get through the all the rejection you're possibly going to get, but not be so faced by it that you give up on your dream. You know, you have to have perseverance. You have to see the mountain but not fear the mountain. You know, you have to be able to put in the work, because it's going to be work. There are a few of the artists that just it magically happened, and that's amazing. But for 99.9%, you have to work. And the thing is that also that I want to tell them is, don't be so focused on where you want to go that you forget to enjoy the journey. Yes. Because the journey is the beauty of it.
My friend, I couldn't agree with you more. You have to enjoy the hustle. You have to enjoy the process of growth.
Yeah.
You have to enjoy, I mean, your advice is evergreen. Our industry, you know, you can come in, and there are the exceptions. You know, there's a natural, let's take sales for example. There's a natural ability of, I've probably in mind, and I've trained a lot of salespeople, a lot, hundreds, maybe 3, that, you know, came in and they are naturally born killers, but they are not the top. The top guys,
the ones that want it, but work to get there.
They go and read the books. They ask the right questions. They are humble enough to say, okay, I lost this deal because of 1, 2, 3. What do you think I should approach it? So, and they enjoy the process. The reward is just a symptom.
Yeah,
it will happen if you enjoy the process. Yeah. So that's beautiful advice. Very, very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, it's coming. It's coming. No,
mine is here already.
Yeah, mine had a delay, but it's there now. Yeah.
Oh wow!